Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Intelligence Racing League for the final round of the evaluation races, the third one out of three. The drivers do now know which leagues they will be in, so this is more of a practice race just to see what sort of form they are in. My name is Luke Etheridge, and I will be taking you through Group 1 today around a very familiar circuit to anyone who's been watching the real-life F1. No spoilers, but for those who haven't watched it, I don't think you'll be too surprised by the order of the grid when you finally get round to do it. It is, of course, Silverstone, the home of the British Grand Prix, the home of the very first F1 World Championship race over 70 years ago now. Who will come out on top today? A very fast, fascinating circuit. It's sure to be exciting, and you never know what could happen weather-wise in Britain, of course. 18 minutes qualifying, 26-lap race. All the drivers will be getting ready now to see how they do, seeing how they might be doing with their potential teammates as well. They haven't been announced yet. Teammates will come out later on this week, and they all want to get a good performance in, obviously, with the new season starting next week. Season 2 will be starting at the same time around Albert Park for the traditional season opener in Australia. So here we go then, 18 minutes of qualifying, getting ourselves underway. Who will be the first out of the pit lane? 19 drivers. Good to see a nearly full lineup and a fairly long circuit, obviously, as well. So you shouldn't expect traffic to be a problem. Only 2 circuits on the F1 calendar, actually longer than this one, and that is Belgium, the longest track in Formula 1, of course, Spa-Francorchamps, and Azerbaijan, ever so slightly longer as well. No one seems to be rushing out at the moment to get a lap set. We've got one of the Red Bull cars just heading out on track now, a Ferrari following as well. In fact, looking at this, there's quite a few down the far end of the pit lane that have decided to head out. They're all, of course, hoping to put on some good performances this time around to see how they are going to do. So we'll go on board with a few of these cars. You've got Broad just coming out of the pits as well. Seems like everyone was just waiting for those first few seconds to get out of the way before deciding to head out onto the circuit. It's an incredibly long pit lane here, one of the longest on the calendar. You do lose an exceptional amount of time, purely just because of the way the pit lane is designed. As you can see from the track map around that final corner, it does cut it off. The pit lane speed limit starts very early on, so one-stop strategy will definitely be the name of the game here. Don't want to do any more than that. We've got some support in the chat for Sibinio in the Racing Point, driving the number 11 Racing Point, which we're not obviously going to see at Silverstone this weekend after Sergio Perez's positive coronavirus test. We do wish him well. It'll be interesting to see how the Hulk gets on in tomorrow's session. So who is going to be the first driver to get on to a flying lap? It looks like it's going to be Yogurt. He'll be the first driver to take us around on a lap of this Silverstone circuit. 5.891 kilometres. Around 3.6 miles just over. First used in Formula 1 in 1950. Extremely fast back then, and still an extremely fast circuit now as he just comes out of the final corner there at Vale, heading straight along through Abbey then, and then the farm curve, getting a bit wobbly there, and then it's heavy braking here into Village. Need to be nice and careful. Then the loop, you have to swing over to the right hand side of the track to get the best possible line. You can see him locking up there. Flat out through Aintree. It's important to get a good run through here as it takes you onto the Wellington Straight, and of course, most importantly, the DRS zone, where it is very possible in the race to go for an overtaking manoeuvre down into Brooklands. Around the inside, round the outside. It doesn't matter there, and it doesn't matter coming through Luffield as well. Taking a wider line just to make sure you can get a best possible exit flat through Woodcote, down the Old Start Straight, down the National Pit Straight, then heading through Copse. 190 miles an hour, apparently, apex speed. I'd be impressed if anyone in Formula 1 manages to match that this weekend. And then Maggot, Beckett's, Chapel. An extremely historic and challenging sequence of corners. Just getting a bit wobbly there in the Haas, but seems to be doing a good lap so far. Down the Hanger Straight, DRS open once again, braking hard into Stowe. It's very easy to run wide on the exit here. Not the easiest overtaking opportunity. And then finally, hard on the brakes again, one of the slowest parts of the track, locking up, running wide through Vale. That will compromise him through there. He's got a very bad exit through there. It was looking like a good lap through there, but flat through Club across the line. It is a 125 124.205 then, an extra rotation, instantly beating that in the Alpha Tauri with a 124.6. As Legend has retired from the session, we'll try and see where that is. That looks to me as though it is coming through Cops. You can just see the Alfa Romeo on the left-hand side of the track there, coming through Cops. So he has got it badly wrong as we get our first look here at INL at that beautiful black Mercedes. Probably, well, definitely, I'm going to say the best-looking car in Formula 1. Now, driven by VR46 Bowling at the moment. His teammate Flynn Finisher not too far behind either. Extra rotation was fastest. It's now Ryan who's done a 124.2. Yogurt down to 6. That mistake at this part of the circuit definitely cost him. And you can see actually Bowling has invalidated. His teammates managed to keep it nice and clean. And their Legends are saying he dropped it out of Cops. If you're on wide there, it's very easy to get it wrong as Flynn Finisher goes up into 4th place. Just behind extra rotation as we try and get rid of that fastest time. It now says XL Ryan at least, so hopefully once someone else, if someone else goes faster, that will disappear, and there we go. So that means Legend will definitely be starting from the back. Who will be joining him towards the back of the grid? There's a few drivers invalidated early on. Toxic Tomato then in the Alpha Tauri. Let's see what he can do. That new colour scheme, of course, taking over from the Scuderia Toro Rosso team. You want us to ride on Sibinio when he's on his flyer? Well, he's in the pits at the moment, Hayden, but we'll make sure he gets some screen time at the moment, deciding to ditch his lap on the mediums, interestingly, and Ferrari actually setting his lap time on the mediums, 124.890. That suggests to me he's got a lot more pace in that Ferrari. Only 6/10 are off the soft time. You'd expect at least 8-9 of a second gap from mediums to soft. So maybe once F1 Ferrari 516 puts on the soft tyres, he will be the quickest driver. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see, of course. Toxic Tomato keeping it nice and clean through Luffield and Woodcote, and a few drivers have had trouble there lately keeping things under control. Now through Cops, as I said, tricky corner, bit slower than we saw the Haas do earlier on Apex, and leaving quite a lot of track there on the exit of the corner, so not the quickest line through there. Perhaps just taking it a bit easier on this first qualifying lap. If you want to get yourself a decent banker in, you don't want to do what the Alfa Romeo of Legend did, bin it in the wall straight away. It's still been a good middle sector though from Toxic Tomato. He's showing some good time. Will he be able to challenge Ryan, who's currently got a 1/4 of a second gap from Mr. Pop XL, who in the one evaluation race I covered him in France 2 weeks ago was extremely dominant and quick around there. He's with some faster guys now, so it'll be interesting to see if he can show that pace again as Toxic Tomato round the final corner, and it's a 124.315. Slots him just behind Ryan, 19 thousandths behind at the moment. Most of the drivers then have done their first lap time, and it is XL Ryan on top, Toxic Tomato second, Mr. Pop is in third, extra rotation fourth, so Alpha Tauri's doing well. One Alfa Romeo, you can see doing well. Flynn in fifth. We've still got a few drivers yet to set a time. Neither of the Williams have yet to set a lap time. One of them, they're both out on a lap now. We'll go on board with Mike then. NLR Mike K. He's just coming through the first sector, 26.9. That's a very respectable first sector. You can see the rainbow halo as part of Formula One's We Race as One initiative. Looking nice and comfortable through Woodcote. Not doing what Latifi did earlier, which I'm sure he'll be fairly happy that he's avoided that. Let's see how he's looking through Cops. You can just see him using slightly more of the road, but actually didn't manage to get through the apex at a higher speed than Toxic Tomato. So Tomato might have another mile or two in hand, whether that is just driver ability, whether that is set up, whether that's how they're taking the lines through that corner, it just remains to be seen. Always a compromise between what lines you have to take with getting a better entry, getting a better exit, slowing fast out, usually the way, but when it's such a sweeping set of corners, you're not normally sure of the best line. So let's see what Mike can do. Number 18 at the moment. Only one driver behind him. Well, no one will be ahead of the Alfa Romeo. How far up the order can he get? He goes into 6th position then for him. His teammates not too far behind. Bullet Boy currently down in 15th now as we've seen someone else set a lap time. What on pole goes into 4th, and Bullet Boy, very good lap from him. That is 3rd position at the moment. Who else we've got on hot laps that haven't set one? Sparbolt in 18th at the moment. Just coming up towards Vale and Club. Locks up slightly there. Makes the apex though. Didn't cost him too much. I'd expect to see a lot of locking up there as you try and brake and turn at the same time. And he goes into 11th place at the moment. Quite a few guys, like we said, on their final, well, on their first runs actually, because seeing as they had problems earlier and going for their second runs. And fortunately for Sabinho, he's already invalidated. Not sure where that happens. Hopefully he gets out of the way because he's got a Williams behind him, and I can't imagine that Williams is actually on a flying lap, so he's just slowing down. And this is probably, if I'm being honest, not the best part of the circuit to be going slow. You don't want to be holding anyone up through here. It's incredibly fast through there, as you can see. Ferrari 516. Now that he's on the soft tyres, he's 3/10 up on his best from earlier on, so he's having an improvement on them soft tyres. Not as much as we would have expected, of course. See one of the Williams just pulling out of the way on the straight. That is what the yellow flag is there for on the track map. What can Ferrari do? The 9th and 10th at the moment, just ahead of F1 Ferrari, but I'm sure he's going to improve this time around on those soft tyres. And there we go, fastest time we've seen of everyone. First man underneath 1 minute 24, 1:23.985. A very quick lap time indeed from the Ferrari driver there. Who else have we got that is heading towards the near end of their lap? We've got a Renault now coming up towards the end. That is XL Lion. He's improved on his personal best, so we'll have to see if he can get into the 123s as well here. Still in second place at this moment in time. Seems like Toxic Tomatoes going out a bit later, and he does improve, but only by 3 thousandths of a second. So he's now 21 thousandths ahead of Toxic Tomato. So still not quite a blink of an eye. It's getting very close indeed between those drivers though. We've got Matty in the other racing point. Neither of the racing points yet to set a lap at the moment. They are down in 15th and 19th. Out of those that are still in the session and still able to set a lap, it's only Sabinho that is yet to do so, with 7 minutes 15 seconds remaining. Probably only going to get a chance at one lap, as there we see Matty just going round, ran wide at Luffield. Not sure if he's done any damage, blocking up the old pit lane here. And with all due respect, that's not the greatest return to circuit I've ever seen, that donut. It did just clip the wall ever so slightly. Don't think there's been any damage done to the car, but those tyres will be looking decidedly second best, so he'll probably be diving back towards the pit now to put another set of fresh boots on that car. Toxic Tomato has already done that. He's going out for his second one now. First sector, slight improvement, 24 thousandths up. That would be enough to get him through to the front row of the grid. And if things stay as they are, we'll just follow him now. Let's listen to the car. Let's listen to that Honda engine as he comes through this next part of the track. Oh, and he's gone round. He's gone round through cops. Is that similar? That must have been similar to what Legend did earlier on. Thankfully for him, he's gone in backwards, so avoided damaging the car. No rear tyres getting knocked off. But yeah, that is it's a strange incident. Maybe earlier on we saw him leave a lot to chance on the exit of that corner. Has he just taken too much curb on the inside and spun around? Unfortunately, we weren't on board, but I can only imagine that is what he's done. So a shame for him. Teammates just starting his flying lap now. But yeah, Toxic Tomato is going to have to dive into the pits. That was looking good as well. He was up on his personal best through the first sector. So a shame for him that it all went so horribly wrong there. You can see how close his qualifying session is though. From 2nd to 14th, 6/10 of a second. It's only really Ferrari at the top. And a few of the other guys who I don't think have yet managed to get a clean lap. We've seen Matty make a mistake earlier on. Jogger made a mistake on his first run. I haven't been on board with Janetsky yet, but he's still going around on the McLaren, and I think he's actually just up ahead of extra rotation now, getting well out of the way, so he'll be coming back towards the pits. Extra rotation doing a much better job than his teammate of getting through cops, and I'm sure he'll be glad of that. Is he going to be any higher up this time? Can he beat Bois, Mr. Pop and Flynn Finisher? If he's going to, if he carries this on, he's a quarter of a second up. This could start challenging his teammate, actually. We could see the two Alpha Tauris near the top of the table with just 5 minutes to go in qualifying. A bit hesitant on the throttle for Stowe when he's invalidated his lap. Thankfully for him, he could just dive straight into the pit, so that didn't go well for him, unfortunately. So a lot of drivers are finding it difficult to get an improvement done around here. The Renault of F1 on pole at the moment. He's hoping to end up on pole. This lap could be good enough to put him ahead of the Mercedes of Flynn finisher. He just keeps it clean through the final sector of the lap. And he actually decides to dive into the pit, so clearly feel as though he's got a bit more. Thankfully the game puts the brakes on them, otherwise there could have been an absolutely enormous crash in the pit lane. Yogurt has invalidated. Sibinio is off again. This is going to be his first flying lap complete. What can the Racing Point driver do? It's good enough for 15th at the moment. Just puts him ahead of his teammate, but the Racing Points do look to be struggling around here at this moment in time. 4 minutes to go then, and it's still Ferrari at the top. F1 Ferrari, that is. Exolvay in second, Toxic Tomato in third position, and F1 Ferrari is just about to start his final flying lap in this session. Can anyone else get into the 123s and knock him off provisional pole position here? Looking to be keeping it nice and clean at the moment. He's got no traffic ahead of him. Might have just wanted maybe a teammate ahead of you to give you a slight slipstream. Will cost you for obviously Maggots and Beckett's, but if you can get a decent run through the first part, or even after that, if you start catching him up after that and get a good run down the hanger straight, can definitely gain you some time. He doesn't need that at the moment though. He is still going fastest. 123.985, and he's on purple in the first sector, so things going very well for him at this moment in time. As Mr. Pop actually, well, didn't see that lap time coming. Great lap from the Alfa Romeo, up into second place. We didn't see many improve on that second run around. He's improved on his third run though, so that's it, probably qualifying over for him now. He's not got any fuel left, so second's the best he'll be able to do. We'll have to see whether anyone can improve. Ferrari still improving at the moment. He's fastest in Sector 1. He's set a personal best in Sector 2 as well. He's got a Mercedes just ahead of him. A Flynn finisher who gets well out of the way. Good driving from the Mercedes driver. Can he improve any further? Can he open that gap at the top of the timing charts? Is this going to be another lap from F1 Ferrari in the 123s? It is indeed. 123.761. Great lap from him. He's nearly 4 tenths faster at the moment. He'll be very happy with how things are going in this session at this moment in time. With just 2 minutes remaining, it's tough to see who's going to be able to pull out a good enough lap to beat him. We've got Daniel coming around at the moment in the Red Bull. Identical lap time to his teammate, and we saw that earlier in the real life F1 qualifying. The two McLarens went identical at one point, and so did Stroll and Gasly. And you can see that they're not too far behind off by K either, so 5 thousandths of a second, or 6 thousandths of a second, so he will get the Red Bull into the top 10. But starting 11th is not a disaster, because you get that free tyre choice in the race, and tyre wear quite severe around here. Pirelli bringing their 3 hardest tyres, and Daniel's just invalidated, so that may well be qualifying over for him unless he's got enough fuel to get another run done in that car. Both the Renaults on an outlap at the moment. They've got a Ferrari of just as. It's actually, no, it's not just as behind. It is the other Ferrari of F1 Ferrari. Flynn, though, is on a hot lap at this moment in time. Up on his personal best. Can he challenge his teammate? Can he challenge any of those up ahead of him? Needs to find 4 tenths to get up to the front row. Very late on the brakes is the Mercedes there. 1 minute to go in this qualifying session. And where is Flynn finisher going to be? It is good enough for 5th position at the moment. Just knocks his teammate down to 6th place, who went on board with him there. Just ran wide, coming through Beckett's, and then obviously that compromises your line through Chapel. He was slightly up on his personal best, but it remains to be seen whether that has cost him any time, because he was only a few hundredths up going into that part of the circuit. He's got the F170 helmet on from the 70th edition of the F1 game, very sideways through the final corner, and he is done for this qualifying session then. So Bolin won't be any higher than 6th position. Just as has just gone up then into 8th. Checkered flag will be coming out shortly. Will the McLaren of Sparholt. He's just heading towards Sector 1. It's Janetsky down in last place at the moment. Checkered flag is out then. Can the McLaren improve? He does go up into 16th place. That is qualifying done for him. Yogurt has had enough as well. He will be in 14th. You've got Mayoke coming around. You've got one of the Red Bulls. That is McCrew. What can he do? No improvement from him. He was just cruising around at the end of this lap. Sabinho's on an outlap, and I don't think he's got that timed too well indeed. So Yeah, that's qualifying over for him. He's down in 17th. Who have we got coming out on track now? Who can improve? I think I just nearly came up across a crash there. Boarpai goes up into 7th. Is XL Ryan, his teammate, improving? Can the Renault sneak onto the front row of the grid? No, he cannot. Stays in 3rd for now, but it is getting exceptionally close in this session. Mike now, he's across the line. 9th position. One of the Alpha Tauris coming across the final corner. Toxic Tomato up then into 2nd place. He does get onto the front row, but the McLaren of Sparholt just finished his lap. Extra rotation is coming into the pit. So that is it for qualifying. And we have a Ferrari at the top of the timing sheets. Not just us, who's just got into the top 10, but his teammate F1 Ferrari is on pole position at the moment. Only man to get underneath the 124, and a great lap it was indeed. Great final run from Toxic to get into 2nd. Looked quick on his 2nd run. Just made a slight mistake coming through Cops. And that could have been very costly, as it was for Legend earlier on in the session, but thankfully for him it wasn't. Mr. Pop 3rd, XL Ryan, who for a long time looked like the 2nd fastest man in that qualifying. Actually, no, someone was on another lap. Bullet Boy. I thought everyone had come across the line. Bullet Boy gets 4th right at the death. So I was saying XL Ryan was looking pretty good for most of the session to be in 2nd place. He actually ends up dropping to 5th in the Renault. So he definitely showed his form earlier on in qualifying. Just a shame it didn't end well. So we've got F1 Ferrari fastest, Toxic Tomato 2nd, Mr. Pop is 3rd, Bullet Boy 4th, XL Ryan 5th, Flynn Finisher and Bolin for 2 Mercedes 6th and 7th. Bois on pole is 8th, Mike K 9th, just as rounds out the top 10. Extra rotation. Will be able to use the extra rotation on his fresh, soft or medium or hard tyres, depending on what he wants to start on, but he does have the choice of fresh tyres. He's 11th. McCrew, Daniel making it 2 Dutch Red Bull drivers, 12th and 13th. Yogurt is 14th. Sparholt 15th, just ahead of his teammate Janetsky in 16th. Sabinio and Matty didn't go well for the racing points. They are 17th and 18th, and we saw Legend in the wall earlier on at Corps. How can he recover through the race? Because obviously he didn't get to set a time, so we haven't really seen what sort of pace he has got at this moment in time. But qualifying is over. 26 laps of the British Grand Prix is coming right your way now. We have got another race going on at the same time. We've got 3 separate races going on today. If you want to watch the Group 3 guys being taken through by Ivan Bryn Mike, they are currently on the YouTube channel as well. And Dan, or V8 Field, as some of you may know him, he is taking us through Group 2 later on in the session. His time will be 4:15 UK time, so 5:15 Central European Summer time. Everyone now just getting their strategies ready for this race. So many high and medium speed corners here. That is why Pirelli do bring the hardest tyres. It is a killer for the tyres here, and it's going to be very interesting to see how those at the front cope with their tyres. Beautiful sunshine. See, it does happen in Britain. Even if you have to physically set it to beautiful sunshine, you can get it. It's not always raining around here. I am going to be surprised, though, if we do get 2 real-life British Grand Prix without any rain appearing, if I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. But you never know. Seeing as Formula 1's in town, the rain might decide to disappear. Everyone looks to have got their strategies ready. You can make a few minor changes to the setup of your car. Maybe change the front wing just to adjust the balance. And obviously you can change the differential on the fly as well if you want to add some extra tweaks to the setup of your car. But everyone will be getting ready now just for the race. It's 26 laps of Silverstone coming up shortly. We do seem to be waiting a long time, so I do hope there is not lobby issues, because F1 2020 being the fantastic quality online game it is at the moment, unfortunately. I prefer the driving on this game. I do think Codemasters have done a good job with that. Before people start hating on me for hating Codemasters, I think they've done a good job on the driving. I prefer it. I think this is the first time I've been faster than a previous F1 game since Codemasters took over. I've just seemed to be on a slow/fast decline. But there are a few bugs. Hopefully they'll get them sorted. They are usually pretty good at that. But I do believe we will be resetting to a different lobby. So as soon as I find out what is happening, I will of course let you guys know. We've got a lovely view of the pit lane here at Silverstone. The new Silverstone wing completed in 2011. This track layout, with the pit lane being on the run into Abbey, has been used since 2011. They did use the same configuration, but with the pit lane back at Cops. In fact, no, here we go. Things are going underway. It took a bit longer, but a good job. We were pretty patient. I think it's Brought on Powell who's apparently having issues, so hopefully he'll be able to rejoin the race. And here we go, F1 Ferrari, with a view that I don't think Ferrari are going to have too often this season, unfortunately for them. He's got a nice clear view of the track ahead of him. Toxic Tomato is in second place. Pop third. Bullet Boy we saw there in fourth, getting that lap in right at the death. 2 Mercedes pretty high up the order. Be interested to see what extra rotation can do. He looked quick on a run earlier on. He's down in 11th. I think we could see the bottom few drivers move up the field as well. Matty was looking not too bad on his first run, one of his first runs in qualifying before he made that mistake coming through Luffield. Legend made that mistake as well coming through Cops. He's on the medium tyres, as is everyone outside the top 10 apart from Janetsky and Daniel. They are on the softs. I'd expect it to be a one-stop strategy for everyone here, just because of the length of the pit lane. So soft to medium, maybe soft to hard if you are struggling with tyre life, and likewise medium to hard or medium to soft. We'll have to see what these guys go for. Will we see any moves on the first lap? There's the tyre strategies. You can see 11 to 14 for both sets really. Soft to medium or the soft to the hard tyres. You can make those tyres last a tiny bit longer. You will have fresher tyres obviously at the end of the race, and they can drop off a cliff round here with these high speed corners. Maggots, Beckett and Chapel, what we've just seen the field go through as they're just coming down the hanger straight now, can definitely be pretty tricky when your tyres are wearing out. So F1 Ferrari leading them round now towards the grid. He'll be looking for a good performance. Toxic Tomato snatching second towards the end of that qualifying session from Mr. Pop XL. Pretty much came from nowhere in that session. He wasn't looking as though he was right up the front, and then managed to get into the second row of the grid. Likewise, CPI Bullet Boy, it has to be said, he was languishing around the bottom end of the top 10 before he stuck up. What can he do on the first row of the grid? 2015, we saw the Williams on the second row of the grid, sorry, for Bullet Boy. We saw Williams on the second row of the grid take the lead from the Mercedes on the run down to Abbey. Will we see any heroics this time around? Will we see any carnage at the village, which is really the first chance when everyone gets to overtake? All the cars have lined up then on the grid, just waiting for the lights to come on here at Silverstone. There we go, we've got 4 lights, 5 lights, and we are underway here at Silverstone. Decent start from F1 Ferrari and Toxic Tomato. You see Mr. Pop's going to try and go all the way around the outside as well. They're going to go 3 wide through Abbey. I'm not sure that's going to work. There's already been a big spin in the background. That is XL Vian and Flynn Finisher have come together. So Toxic Tomato is in the lead because Ferrari is round. F1 Ferrari's gone off. Legend is out. Safety car as well. What on earth has happened there? I was just about to say, I don't think 3 wide into Abbey quite works. I saw the Renault of XL Vian spinning around, and I think all hell has broken loose in the background. So Legend, he didn't get to show us what he could do in qualifying. He's not got to show us what we could do in the race. He's not even made it to the first braking zone. And he is out, but it's Toxic Tomato in the lead. Bowling second, McCrew third? I mean, what? How's he gone up 9 places on that first lap? Bullet Boy's not the only driver not to gain or lose any places, which is a bit of a miracle. His teammates now behind him. Bois and Pole up 2. Sparbolt up 8 places. His teammates in 9th's gone up 7. You've got extra rotation in between, gone up 3 places. Something clearly happened going 3 wide through Abu. I said I didn't think it would work. It looked as though they'd managed to get through cleanly at the first part, and then we saw F1 Ferrari dropping around the field. I think his teammate, just as, was facing the wrong direction as well. But yeah, safety car here on lap 1. Legend, probably the unluckiest driver at the moment. He made that mistake earlier on in qualifying and then started at the back of the grid. Normally, if you're at the back, you can avoid the incidents. It's being in the middle that's the problem. As we are seeing now a few drivers come into the pits then, unsurprisingly. They'll be putting on, I think, hard tyres and trying to get to the end. Got the Williams of Mike, Janetsky, and most of those towards the back of the field, unsurprisingly. If they've got any down here, it's Toxic Tomato. Drop is still obviously leading the race. Timing glitch still there. We are on lap 2, not lap 3. We'll probably be lap 3 or 4 possibly when we get racing again. So it's Toxic Tomato still in the lead. It's now Bowling second, McCrew in that third position. And Legends here saying that someone's just come from the right and pushed him into the wall. Did look as though there was a lot of incidents going on that first corner, unfortunately. But Toxic Tomato, he's still managed to hold on to the lead of the race. He's got everyone ganging up behind him. And this just makes me wish I could go onto the safety car and show you the view from the back of Burt Mylander's Mercedes. But yes, Toxic Tomato leading this race. See what tyres those that are pitted have gone for. Unsurprisingly, the hard tyres. Apart from Daniel, who's gone on the mediums. He will have to stop again on those, no doubt about it. Probably until the softs at the end of the race. But surprising for him, the crew could be in a good position here, having started on the medium tyres. If you can do well in the first couple of laps, because those on the softs, their tyres will last a bit longer now. General rule of thumb is 2 laps under the safety car equates to about 1 lap of full racing when it comes to tyre wear and fuel usage. The Mercedes AMG GT is an incredibly fast road car, but has got nowhere near the performance of these pure racing machines, the fastest cars in terms of lap times in motor racing, obviously Formula 1. Incredible amounts of power from the 1.6 litre hybrid power units. Downforce as well, a lot heavier than they used to be, but the wider tyres do give them the extra grip out of the slow speed corners as well. So it's Toxic Tomato still leading, Bowling second obviously. On the lap 3 of the safety car here, what can F1 Ferrari do? He's going to need to come back from a long way down. He's down in 10th. 2 racing points have took advantage of all that carnage. They are now 8th and 9th. They will be enjoying things as they are going at this moment in time. There's the first man who was pitted. Mike, 12th position is NLR stablemate behind. One driving a Williams, one driving a Haas, both on the hard tyres, so they might be in decent condition. And you can see him just trying to get some temperature into those hard tyres. They are tougher to get tyres in, temperature in those, obviously, than all the others. And on the restart as well, that can affect you, especially when they are old. It's Toxic Tomato in the lead, Bowling second, then McCrew is third. They do seem to be having a bit of desync there, so I do apologise for this. We'll find out shortly whether the safety car is coming in this lap. The entire field is together. Obviously Legends car out of the way very quickly, but this game does seem a bit eager. The virtual race director has got a bit of an itchy trigger finger at the moment when it comes to putting the safety car out. Toxic Tomato nearly overtaking it there. You don't want to do that at the end. Pretty much trying to encourage it to speed up here. Well, I don't think Burt Mylander's having any of it. There we go. Lights off on the safety car. Safety car in this lap. So now Toxic Tomato controls the pace here. He just has to wait. Wait for the right moment. Safety car has to be back into the pit lane, which it is now. Just heading on the run down to the pit lane, so as soon as the safety car's in, then you're fine to overtake it. Toxic Tomato leaving it very late here to go. Will he go before we get towards Vale and Club, or just a bit after? There we go. As soon as we got out of Stowe, he has floored it, so we're back underway here. As soon as they get across the finish line, they will be allowed to overtake again for hopefully 23 laps of fantastic racing action here at INL. So it's Toxic Tomato in the lead. Yogurt has got a penalty for a severe collision, and McCrew's dropping way down the order. There's been a collision between McCrew and Bullet Boy. Bullet Boy with damage to his front wing, and I said McCrew was in a good position. That has not lasted long. Yellow flags cleared, thankfully. They're going to have to recover all the way down from the back. It's going to be a nightmare for Bullet Boy to do a full lap with damage on his car, but it's Toxic Tomato in the lead. Ball in second, Wall on Powell now in third. There's a bit of a gap back to Sparbolts and Wall on Powell actually from the front two. Yellow flags in sector 1, and that is Bullet Boy. He's not had a good start whatsoever back to this race. with the damage way down in 18th. Got damage on his car, and it's tough to see him recovering from that at this moment in time. But it's still Toxic in the lead from Bowling, then Boyle on Powell, Sparbolt, head driver on those medium tyres as we see Savinio go off tracks there. Might get punished for track limits at some points during this race. Mike is 10th, Yogurt is 11th. Seeing someone else has gone off, and I think extra rotation. His name's proved a bit too apt. He has gone off coming through Beckett. Can't see from that camera angle if there's been any damage done to the AlphaTauri. Definitely overheated his tyres though. He's round again. He's another driver and he's actually retired from the race. So that's another retirement. Hopefully that won't cause a safety car. Toxic Tomato definitely I'll be hoping it doesn't. He's got a fantastic lead at the moment. 0.9 seconds at the end of lap 1. Reminder, DRS will be enabled at the end of next lap. And yes, safety car again. And has Bullet Boy crashed into extra rotation? Because it does look like they've retired at the same part of track. But we've got another safety car here. It's been a race of carnage so far. Only part way through lap 4, we've had 3 retirements already. We've only had 1 and a bit full racing laps. F1 Ferrari dropping down the order. I think that's just slowing down at different points. I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of those front runners now come into the pits and get their tyres changed for the set of hards, because they'll comfortably be able to get those towards the end and in good shape as well. Maybe even possibly a set of mediums would be good enough. But they'll be relying on a long safety car and some good tyre management for that. So 3 retirements we've had already in this race. It's been absolutely hectic so far, and it's still Toxic Tomato in the lead. He was building a good lead. Now he's going to have to catch up to the safety car. Can't go too fast. You do have a delta time you have to meet until you've caught up to the safety car. He's in the lead. Bowling is second. Walt on Powell is third. And judging by F1 Ferrari, he doesn't sound too happy with what Toxic Tomato was doing. So I do wonder if there was a bit of carnage and collision between them earlier on. And indeed, he's dummied Bowling there. He's decided to stay out. I think Bowling was going to follow Toxic Tomato in. Toxic making a last-minute decision to come into the pits. Bowling is second. Ball Powell, he's in the pits. Then Savinio in. Exa Ryan in. So a couple of the medium runners have stayed out. I think the only soft runner, the Toxic Tomato and F1 Ferrari, have stayed out on track on their soft tyres. They might struggle a bit on the restart. I know they haven't put as much life through these tyres as they would have expected to, but they might just struggle a bit. What this does mean for those who stayed out on the mediums is that they've got no qualms about making these mediums last for a soft stint towards the end. Spar, Holt and Matty could be incredibly fast at the end of this race. Toxic Tomato and F1 Ferrari probably go to around lap 13 and 14 now. We've seen those who have pitted. XL Ryan has come out on the mediums. Daniel's been back in for the hard tyres, so that's his second pit stop of the race. You can just see there, only the front 3, F1 Ferrari and McCrew yet to pit. And McCrew, he must be absolutely gutted after that incident last time around. He has caught up to the queue. He was involved in an incident with CPI Bullet Boy before we'd even got to the start line for lap 4. Thankfully, he's able to continue without any damage. Unfortunately for Bullet Boy, he retired from this race, as has Extra Rotation, as has Legend. F1 Ferrari here saying he's left the lobby. Do you want to get back in? Because I don't think I'll be able to invite you, if I'm being honest. So, shame for you if you have left the lobby, and it's a shame for you about that incident earlier on, because you were looking good in qualifying. Fastest man in qualifying is there on 6th place at this moment in time. The leader then, who was involved in an incident at the start that we just missed, as he now comes into the pit lane to put the fresh tyres on. Obviously wants one lap extra fresh tyres. I'm not sure that's the best tactic now that everyone else is coming through and that everyone has caught up the safety car, including XL Ryan. He was high up the order. Toxic Tomato gets a 5-second penalty for ignoring yellow flags. There's 2 tracks, and now he's got disqualified from the session for ignoring yellow flags. So Toxic Tomato out of this race. I think that might please one driver at least. So yes, Toxic Tomato's out thanks to Bravo, Codemasters, that's all I've got to say to that. Sparholt leading, Matty second, Mike third, and Sparholt, let's not forget, he was 15th on the grid, Matty was 17th. Mike 9th, so he's not gained too many places. Yogurt was 14th at the start. It's been a very interesting start, a very mixed up start, and some of the quicker guys getting involved in incidents. Mike, the leader of those that has pitted, and these hard tyres will comfortably get you towards the end of the race now. One thing I think we have learnt though is you can't pit once you've caught up to the safety car, because it will just kick you out of the session. Sparholt leading, Matty second, as said, Mike third, Yogurt fourth, Toxic Tomato. I don't think he knows whether to laugh or cry, to be honest, after that. And yeah, one of the drivers just confirming here, there is a lot of desync going on. Hopefully, though, they'll be able to keep it clean for the remaining. Probably if the safety car comes in on this lap, which it should do, everyone is caught up. The incident between Bullet Boy and Rotation has been cleared, so we should soon get 19 laps of racing. There we go, safety car in this lap. Now it's Sparholt, who is basically the safety car on those older medium tyres, as is Matty. They are not no laps old. They've done the start of the race on these, so they might struggle to warm them up a bit more than some of these further down the field. Potentially Mike and Yogurt. Ferrari we can ignore, he's not in the session, so he will drop down the order once we get back to racing, so we'll have to see who can come out on top here. It's definitely not the guys we would have expected, with Mr. Pop in 9th, XL Ryan who was near the front, and Sparholt's leaving it very, very late to go here. Last time Toxic Tomato went around Stowe, Sabinio comes into the pits. That's a brave move, because you might get yourself a penalty for doing that at the moment, it seems, but there we go, Sparholt has gone. So we are back underway again. Matty has followed, Mike and Yogurt not too close at this moment in time. Sabinio will come out in last place. I wonder if he got any damage actually under that safety car restart, as F1 Ferrari's AI seems to be having a good time out here anyway. Out in front though, it's still the fight, the same guys in the lead of this race. Sparholt is in the lead, Matty in second. They're both on the medium tyres. They need to make hay now, get away from Mike in third, because at the moment they'll still have that tyre advantage, but with every single lap it will be fading. Mike looking as though he was struggling a bit there with rear locking, under braking, almost like the car wanted to get away from him. Ball and Pole gets multiple warnings. Flynn getting back past, I think, ahead of F1 Ferrari, unless his AI car's now decided to take things a bit slower, but still in the lead of this race, and Sparholt and Matty. Sabinio's only just coming out of the pit lane on the medium tyres. I'm not sure that strategy has worked for him. Justas is 7th, Pop 8th, McCroom 9th, Bowling is 10th, Ball and Pole 11th, Daniel 12th, XL 13th, Sabinio 14th. We've already had 5 retirements from this race. Toxic disqualified for pitting under the safety car, which hopefully will get fixed soon. Otherwise, I think this league and a few other leagues might want to think about turning the safety car off, because it does seem to cause some issues. Legend crashed out, and X-Rotation and Bullet Boy crashing out as well. So Sparholt still leading this race at the moment at the end of lap 8. Seen a battle here. We've got XL Ryan just behind his teammate Boivin Powell. They seem to be getting held up by Bolin, who is on those hard tyres at the moment, so he will be struggling a tiny bit more than some of those ahead of him, but expected to close up as the race goes on. But the crew could really do with getting past on those medium tyres. He's been on them from the start of the race, so he will have to make a pit stop. A reminder of who still has to pit. There we go. The top 2 and McCrew, the only guys who are yet to pit in this race, because obviously F1 Ferrari has gone missing, and Boivin Powell is round in the Renault. That is coming onto the Wellington Straight, just out of entry. He's avoided doing any damage to that Renault, but he will be a long way down the order behind everyone apart from Sabinio. So while we've got one racing point at the back of the field, the other one is looking to try and take the lead as he just runs wide there, coming through Cops in second place at this moment in time. So Matty is in second. He got a good run there out of Chapel. Sparholt just struggled slightly. No DRS. That'll be activated next time around for the first time in this race after the 2 early safety cars that we have had as Flynn Finisher's got his way past Yoga. He's not waiting for DRS in that Mercedes. He's just sending it down the inside. We've got a battle here between Janetsky and Just As. There's bumping on the way down to Vale. The Ferrari's going to go round the outside. That is a fantastic move on the brakes from Just As. Great driving from him. He's up into 6th. He feels like he's faster than that McLaren. There we go. Pit window is open. You're not going to see people pitting now, obviously, because of the safety car, so they might be able to wait a bit longer. But DRS is now active, and this is the first straight that they'll be able to use it on. Just coming out of the loop, flat through Aintree onto the Wellington straight. Sparholt won't have DRS. Matty, Mike and Flynn Finisher will. And Sparholt, is he going to think about going defensive this time around? He doesn't, and Matty just sends it to the inside. Coming through Brooklands, that gives Sparholt the inside line for Luffield. Will Matty be able to get the cutback done though? In that racing point, he's got a good run, but Sparholt just covers him off coming through Woodcut there, and you're not going to be able to find your way outside at Cops. I don't think Matty, he thought about it, but he's got a much better run on the exit. He's going to be on the outside for Maggots, and just, you heard that very tiny lift there. I'm not sure if that came through on stream, but there was a very small lift from Matty there, and I think that is because he wants DRS coming down the hangar straight to help him overtake the McLaren. As you can see, he's got so much more straight line speed, used a bit of overtake, over 200 miles an hour, and he's ahead before we get to the braking zone. That is Matty in the lead of this race. Now he hopes he can get away from the Sparholt, because this battling will just ruin both of their strategies. But you've got Mike behind, who does not have to pit again in this race. Seeing some moves further down the field, McCrew and XL Ryan battling for what is the final position in the points. 10th place at this moment in time. McCrew just ahead for now. They've not been able to get ahead of Bolin. They were catching him up early on, but perhaps now the hard tyres are coming into their own a bit. End of lap 10 then. It's now Matty in the lead. He's got Sparholt behind him. He nearly got overtaken into Brooklands this time. Now he's the hunter, not the hunted. That rear wing opening on that McLaren. You can see Flynn Finisher just trying to weave there. The Sparholt locks up quite severely there into Brooklands. XL Ryan now back ahead of McCrew for that 10th position. It's getting very close throughout this field. Top 12 drivers separated by 6.6 seconds. Obviously, F1 Ferrari not in the lobby anymore. Bois Powell having that spin, and Sabinho pitting late on just as the safety car was coming back in. But Matty does look to have a bit more pace at this moment in time than Sparholt. We now see XL Ryan get a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. I will check the penalties towards the end of the race. As Sparholt's gone off at Chapel, tries to save it. Just about avoids hitting the wall to give it a slight little kiss there, but he's going to drop down to 9th. I believe, yeah, Bolin is going to get ahead, so Sparholt's strategy has really gone out the window now after that spin. Did well to hold it, just got it wrong coming through Beckett's, ran over the grass at Chapel. He's gone from 2nd to 9th position. I think one other person who won't be too happy about that is Matty. He was acting as a bit of a buffer to Matty. He was holding Mike up. Now Matty won't have anyone behind him to stop Mike getting up towards him. So this could get very interesting now. Mike does not have to pit. Neither does Flynn Finisher. Neither do quite a few of these drivers. It is only Matty Sparholt and McCrew who have yet to pit in this race. All these guys you're seeing on the hard tyres, they will be able to get towards the end of the race. This time around, Mike is not close enough to do anything about that. Mr. Pop, he looks to be closing back in. He was towards the front of the field, let's not forget, earlier on, pitted under the safety car, was involved in the lap 1 incident, which we unfortunately missed between Toxic, Ferrari and himself. Can he now work his way back up the order? Still got a chance of winning this race. 3 seconds off the lead. 0.5 seconds Mike is off the lead at the moment, so it's 2.5 off Mike. And none of these guys have to pit, as Matty has been passed by Mike. I think Matty must have made a mistake through Beckett's as well, because he's now got Flynn Finisher all over the back of him, and he won't have DRS. He made that mistake after the DRS line, so those medium tyres not coping well at the moment. They're just beginning to run out of grip through the high-speed corners, and Matty is now down to 3rd. That puts Mike into the lead of this race, and he'll be feeling very confident about that in lead. Sparholt gets himself a penalty as he tries to close up the order. Lap 12 then finished on lap 13. Now nearly halfway through this race. Seems to have calmed down after the initial safety cars. It's now Mike in the lead, Flynn 2nd, Matty is 3rd, Yogurt, just as Janetsky Mr. Pop, Bolin, Sparholt, Ryan, McCrew, Daniel, Bois, Sabinho. The 14 remaining runners in this race at this moment in time. It's nice to see a Williams in the lead. How long will it be though with Flynn finisher closing down if we get the positions gained from the start of the race? Mike started in 9th, Flynn started 6th, so going from that you've got to say the Mercedes has got extra pace as we've got a great battle going on actually. I just spotted there for 4th position at the moment. Yogurt's having to go very defensive there from Just As at this moment in time. See, from 2nd place down to 8th, we'll all have DRS at the moment. That's helping Bolin keep with the guys ahead and now pull away from Sparhall, Ryan, McCrew and some of those further back as well. This time around though, now Mike's in the lead of the race. Runs wide through there. We see a lot of people doing that through Chapel, just kicking up some dirt on the exit. Seems to be the line they like taking. Mike's liking going for the defensive line into Stowe. And that just ensures that Flynn couldn't get around the outside there to give him the inside for the next part here. Heading down towards Vale and Club. Mike will be leading at this halfway point. He has got that Mercedes all over the back of him then at this moment in time. Matty just dropping back slightly now as his tyres begin to wear. We've seen Sparholt drop back as well. We've got yellow flags again. And that, unfortunately, is Yogurt. He's got a 5-second penalty for a severe collision with Just As. And we've got another safety car out on the circuit. That gives a chance for those who haven't pitted to come into the pit, put the mediums on and be lightning quick towards the end. So I wonder how many pit stops we will see here. The safety car is out. Yogurt down in 12. And I'm not sure who's actually got the damage and that's led... Because it looks as though Yogurt's car's in perfectly good condition. But yes, another safety car then. Actually, no, it's Just As. I think I found the damage there. That Ferrari is missing quite an important part of its aerodynamic package. And that must have been a pretty big incident. He did get a 5-second penalty from it, but he's missing his entire front wing. He'll be into the pits on this lap. Sabinho in again. He's got nothing to lose at the back of the order in the racing point. This will be for another fresh set of tyres. He's putting the softs on. They could last till the end. They could actually last until the end of this race, these soft tyres. Be 10 racing laps to do, I imagine, once the safety car comes in. Maybe 11. He's got a chance on those softs, so we'll have to see how he does. Qualifying didn't go great for him. Qualified down in 17th, but he'll have fresh soft tyres. He'll be lightning quick. He's just got to hope that a few others don't think of that. That was his 3rd pit stop at the moment then. And are we going to see some more? Yeah, Mike coming in. Flynn staying out. Matty, unsurprisingly, coming in. Just about getting his car stopped. He'll be going for the softs as well after starting on the mediums because you have to use 2 different types of tyre. So both Mercedes have stayed out, it looks like. Most of the others are coming into the pits. In fact, it might be the only ones who haven't pitted are the 2 Mercedes because Bois and Powell hasn't quite got there yet. So they've decided to stay out. Now it's interesting, they do both decide to pit. They're probably going to have to do it on different laps to avoid holding themselves up. We are seeing most of the field. Well, there's a bit of a switch here between soft and medium tyres, so we'll have to see what people do go for. Mike has gone for the soft. Janetsky has gone for the mediums. Pop on soft. Matty is on fresh soft, as well McCrory and Sparholt. Ryan on the mediums. Just as on the mediums, Yogurt and Daniel on the soft tyres as well. And unfortunately for Sabinho, these have all come out a long way ahead of him, so it was worth a try. It's worth a try to do something different. Borman Pole's also done something different because he stayed out on circuit. Lap 15 then, we have something which is a very common theme in F1, and Mercedes 1-2. Whether it will be like that at the end of the race, I am not so sure. We've actually got 3 Mercedes in the line there. If you count the safety car, that's some good advertisement for Daimler. If you want to put some money into my PayPal, you'd be very appreciated, Dr. Zetschka. But Flynn finisher in the lead, Bolin second, Mike is third at the moment. He's looking very good on those soft tyres if he can get them to last until the end. Janetsky will be slower earlier on, but faster in the final half of the next stint, so in the final 5 laps. Matty is behind Mr. Pop, and that safety car period came out at a pretty good time for Matty. Otherwise, he would have dropped a long way down the order. So it's worked out well for him in the racing point at the moment. He's in 6th place. And I think you could expect him and a few others to get ahead of these Mercedes drivers. Now that the safety cars come, slowed them down, and the field have caught up, they are going to lose a lot by not pitting, and they're not going to have the grip to challenge some of these others as Flynn doesn't come in and neither does Bolin. So I think they were both trying to dummy a few of the drivers there. Be interested to see how this race goes then. Safety car staying out for another lap. So the most laps of racing we'll have is 10. They're coming towards the end of lap 15 and it is a Flynn Bolin 1-2 for the Mercedes team. Let's have a look at some of the cars further down the field. We haven't really spoke much about Janetsky. He's been very quiet, struggled in qualifying with 16th, as did a few of these others. Kept his nose clean, where so many others haven't been able to, though. Look at that, all of a sudden, he's in 4th. His race could be determined on how well do the soft tyres last. If they don't quite last long enough, he could be looking very good for a victory here. If, however, they have got plenty of pace, they should be able to breeze past him and maybe stay ahead. He's going to be very defensive in the first couple of laps. I've got a few others, obviously, on the soft, on the mediums. XL Ryan has gone for those mediums. Just as also on the medium tyres. Only ones on the hards are those that are ahead and Bois on pole. He went for the hard tyres. He decided to stay out because it was a long way down the order. It's definitely worth a try. It was worth a shot staying out, and you never know if it could work off to be very clever. Because there could well be another safety car. We've seen 3 already in this race, and we've still got 10 laps to go. There could well be another safety car. Then he might have a chance to pit them, and he's not really lost too much, and he'll be on very fresh tyres at the end of the race. Because others will be running out of fresh tyres. But look how many stops they've done. 3 stops for Daniel and Sabinio. Most of the field doing 2 stops. We have got the front few cars, Matty, McCrew, Sparholt and Bois only doing 1 stop at the moment. And I expect to see that magical message from race control coming up on the screen. There it is. Safety car is in this lap. Who will take the victory here? How much temperature have the front drivers been able to keep in their tyres as Yogurt gets a penalty for a severe collision with Justas? Quite a few 5-second penalties under safety car. When it comes to the league season, they will be able to get most of these removed by the stewards, let's not forget. The game does seem exceedingly harsh for penalties under safety car. While on pole, I'm not sure if he's actually disconnected because it's not showing us in the lobby at the moment. I haven't seen him leave, but when are we going to go? As Yogurt gets himself another 5-second tyre penalty for a severe collision. Now, the race leader, Flynn Finisher, has gone, and Bolin is a long way behind him at the moment. He's already got a second lead as one of the Mercedes, so that's worked out well for Flynn. He leads, 10 laps to go then. Bolin second, Mike still in third. Janetsky has got Mr. Pop all over the back of him with that extra grip. Bolin locking up into Farm and the loop here. He's struggling at the moment. Sparholt moving up ahead of McCrew for now. He's up into 8th place. He was leading this race. Let's not forget, now he's on a fresh set of soft tyres. How far up can he get? Yogurt's coming to the pits, I imagine, with some damage as Mike tries around the outside of Bolin into Bucklands. Not quite working there. Now he's going around the outside at Luffield. Has he got the extra grip on his tyres to go all the way around the outside? He's just going to find himself getting squeezed off. Fortunately for him, Mr. Pop was a bit far back after just overtaking Janetsky and Matty in 6th. He was another person who was leading before he made a mistake. Can he end up winning this race still? But it's Flynn Finisher in the lead by 7/10 of a second. DRS will be activated on lap 19. So they should get 8 more laps of DRS assistance down this straight, the Hanger straight and down the Wellington straight. I don't think Mike might not need it though. He's got a much better exit out of Chapel. Has he got the straight line speed? Has he got the grip at the moment to go later on the brakes into Stowe? He's down the inside. He taps the inside of Mercedes and he's round. He's gone round and Mr. Pop's gone into the back of him as well. They've both got off the circuit. That was a very late move from Mike, I think, to have a go at the Mercedes. Didn't quite commit, and then we've seen it so often on Codemasters F1 games. If you're the inside car and you tap another one, it's usually yourself on the inside that is spinning. Bad luck for him, bad luck for Mr. Pop, who just caught the back of that. He is now retired in the pit lane, so it's still a Mercedes 1-2. Janetsky is now in 3rd, Ryan in 4th. They're both on the medium tyres. This could help those 2 Mercedes at the front. You've got Matty too busy defending from Sparholt. This was the battle for the lead the other way round earlier on in this race. Now it's the battle for 5th and 6th position. Matty was quicker early on. It remains to be seen whether he's still quicker at this point in the race. The McLarens have got themselves up to 3rd and 6th after what was a disastrous qualifying session from them. They were 13th and 16th. They might be able to get both cars on the podium here. That is not too far out of the realms of imagination. both racing points as well in the points. They were a long way down the order. On the 9th row of the grid, 17th and 18th, Matty and Sabino are now 5th and 10th at this moment in time. Bowling a lot closer to Flynn finisher on this lap, and he's not under any pressure from behind. Janetsky, though, needs to get within a second, you think. Needs to close within a second just to help as Sparhall down the inside of Matty. He's got a much better run out of Chapel, and Just As might be able to send one as well on the medium tyres. Should expect him to have the less grip at this moment, but he's not bothered about that. He's now up into 6th place as XL Ryan has gone round the outside at the first part of Vale. Gets the line through the inside at the next part of Vale and through Club. He is now up into 3rd. He sets off in pursuit of the 2 Mercedes because at the moment the rest of the field is more than a second behind. They are outside of DRS range. The longer it stays like that, the better chance it looks like we could see a Mercedes 1-2 here. I don't think after qualifying any of us would have expected that. Sparhope now battling with Just As just sitting back. They're all going to have DRS though coming down this straight. The Ferrari has got a much better exit than the McLaren though. The McLaren going defensive into turn 5, I believe it is. Brooklands not able to get ahead though is Just As. He has to stay behind for now. Matty in 7th. This battling could allow the 2 Red Bulls to close up because they have dropped back ever so slightly. We're now seeing Just As has got ahead. He's actually managed to go round the outside before we get to Corps. Not sure what happened there. Sparhall must have had a bad exit through Luffield and Wadcott, but the Ferrari is now up into 5th place. And we are seeing the Renault of XL. He's pulling away. We've got a spinning car, I thought I saw there. No, sorry, just my eyes deceiving me. I do apologise about that. No one has spun, thankfully, so we're not going to get another safety car. But now the Mercedes are under trouble. Not sure if these two will be teamed together once the teams are announced. We'll have to wait and see. But if they are doing any teamwork, it's going to be in their interest to make sure that Bowling just stays within a second off Flynn, because that will give him DRS. He needs to try and back everyone else up. Maybe put XL Ryan under a bit of pressure, because now Janetsky is dropped back to more than a second in the McLaren. Seems to be struggling to cope with the pace that the Mercedes and the Renault of Ryan are setting at this moment in time. So Bowling could do with just backing up here a bit and just maybe giving his teammate a bit more of a 3-1 to victory. But let's not forget, Bowling wants to win this race for himself as well. 6.5 laps to go. Who's going to end up taking the victory here? It is anyone's guess. We'll have a quick check on the penalty situation for some of the front guys. Flynn, 1 warning away from a penalty. Bowling has got a 5-second penalty. He's got 8 seconds of penalties in total. Ryan, 6 seconds. So this could help. This could help the leader, Janetsky. He's had 5 seconds himself, Just As 5-second penalty. Sparholt. Yeah, he's looking very good for Flynn if he keeps it clean at this moment in time. I think it's safe today. Sabino has picked up a 3-second time penalty as well. So, out of the top 5 or 6 drivers, everyone but Flynn seems to have at least 6 seconds of penalties as McCrew and Daniel, both Red Bulls, get past the rating point there. So they are now up into 7th and 8th as Matty does get himself a penalty there for just running wide at Stowe. So Flynn finisher still in the lead of this race from Bowling, who is 2nd. Ryan still in 3rd. Maybe just because Bowling is getting DRS as we've had a car off again. That is Sabino has gone Spinala, unfortunately for him. Drops down out of the top 10. He is in 11th. Don't think he'll be long before Bourmont Powell is challenging him as well. Back to the front of the order though. Still the 2 Mercedes doing well. Ryan a lot closer than he's been before. He's not close enough to have a dive down the inside, I don't think, into Brooklands. Bowling does run wide though, just leaves the door slightly open. It's a very flat curve there and you can run quite high up on the curve. These top 3 getting away from Janetsky, who's doing a good job on holding up Just As at the moment. You can see it's 2.4 seconds of gap now between the McLaren and the podium slot as he just moves to the right of the track there, breaking the slipstream. Just As not too bothered. Mike, let's not forget, he was high up the order. He looked as though he could be good for winning this race at one point. He's now dropped down to 9th place, just going up actually. He's overtaken Matty, and you can see this queue behind the McLaren at this moment in time. We've got a battle here as Sparholt getting back past Just As, making it 2 McLarens in the top 5. Just As not under any pressure from the Red Bulls behind, so it's all staying level this time around, and still Ryan unable to get ahead of the 2 Mercedes. The longer this goes on, the less of an advantage those mediums, and especially the softs, as some of those further back, will have. So, would not surprise me if this is the top 3 across the line. Penalties, though, could really change the situation in this race with 5 laps to go. You just see the Renault not able to get close enough, and as soon as Bolin opens that rear wing, that really, any chance of getting past through there is gone. He's going to have to think about somewhere else, maybe getting a better run through Club, just on the run through then Abbey and Farm to dive it down the inside at turn 3 at Village. That might be his best opportunity to take a win on track at least, because with the DRS, and 2 Mercedes are just helping each other along beautifully. It's fantastic teamwork. We've seen it in the real world from the Brackley-based outfit, just about 10-15 minutes down the road from Silverstone, and we're seeing it again. Janetsky, he's picked up a penalty. He's now trying to defend from his teammate. He's running out of ERS. They both are, actually, on the Renault engine in the McLaren at the moment, and that might make the front McLaren a bit vulnerable if he's got nothing to defend with this time around on the run down to Stowe. He's just far enough ahead, because I believe that is Matty off the circuit now. So both racing points finding the walls lately. Virtual safety car, and who was ahead out of the 2 McLarens there? Sparholt or Janetsky? I think, gotta judge by that Sparholt was just ahead before the VSC came out, so that neutralises things a bit, and that just makes it again, it ruins the opportunities for Ryan, because even if he had been close enough to have a go into Village, like I suggested, doesn't make a difference this time. He's obviously not going to be able to do so under VSC. They've got to stay underneath a delta time. Sabinho back in the pits yet again. That's his 4th pit stop at the moment. It's a bit like the old Pirelli days, 2011 and 2012, where we saw pit stops all the time. They're looking to be speeding up now, so is the VSC coming to an end? Unfortunately, we don't get to see a countdown. The first we'll hear of it is DRS enabled and the track going green. XL Ryan gets a drive-through penalty for speeding under the VSC. He looked to be going a bit quick. He's just gone a bit too fast on the Delta at the end, so his chances of taking the win are out of the window. He will, I believe, have to serve that before the end of the race. With 3 laps to go, he's got enough time. Matty's been into the pit, so after what was looking like a promising race for Racing Point, they are now both at the back of the order. Back underway again then. I don't even think Ferrari would go for strategy this bad at the moment. It's really not gone to plan for Sabinho, and it's a shame for Ryan. It's the closest he's been. The dirty air really catching him out through Beckett's and Chapel though, and Bowling the closest he's been to filling finisher, but not able to make a move this time around. Got to say, on penalties, as we see, they're coming into the pits. Flynn and Bowling are coming into the pits. Flynn's got a penalty for speeding in the pit lane, and he's retired. What is happening? Why would you pit? Why would you pit? Both Mercedes have retired. I am so confused by what is going on now. Like, they must have been close to punctures, but I'm speechless. I do not know why they have pitted. I don't know why Ryan... Well, Ryan had his drive-through penalty, so I know why he pitted, but those hards, I think, could have gone to the end of this race with the amount of VSCs we've had. Maybe I was wrong. Yogurt's retired as well. We've got yellow flags everywhere, but we are, I think, under still full racing conditions. Definitely, as the 2 McLarens are battling. Sparholt sends one down the inside of his teammate. There's no team orders going on here. He's got the soft tyres. He might still have enough life in them at the moment. We've got a McLaren 1-2 out of this, and I have no idea who's going to end up winning anymore. Just as his 3rd, Daniel 4th, Mike in 5th. We're down to just 10 runners, with F1 Ferrari obviously being out of the session. Just as all over the back of Sparholt. He's been looking quicker than Janetsky earlier on. The queue behind Janetsky, which was the queue for 4th place, all of a sudden you got this truly trained for the lead of the race. Can Sparholt now take the lead? He's very close to his teammate, who does defend, but I don't think he'll be able to fight him off for too much longer. Around the outside, 2 McLarens avoid making contact. Janetsky's got a decent exit though, not able to get alongside though into Vale and Club. He's just going to have to sit back. So Sparholt now in the lead of this race. Janetsky 2nd, just as is 3rd. Daniel is 4th. I'll quickly check the penalties again for the front couple of drivers. What has been an absolutely crazy race. Sparholt has 11 seconds of penalties. Janetsky, he only has 8, so that's good for him. Just as has 8 as well. Daniel has only got 5 at the moment, so Daniel is in a very good place to take a win, I think, at this race. We'll check some of the others. Might as well here. We'll see what Mike's got. Mike's got 1 3-second penalty, so even Mike could end up taking the win here. It's going to be one of these guys, as we've seen McCrew drop a long way back. Not sure if he's made a mistake at some point in the other Red Bull. But Mike on 3 seconds, Daniel on 5 seconds of penalties. With how close it is at the moment, Mike's the favourite to take the win. He might only cross the line in 5th position. I don't think I've ever seen anyone be that far back and end up taking the win after penalties. It remains to be seen though. 2 McLaren still leading. Sparholt in the lead. He's got 11 seconds though, so he needs to fly down the field if he wants to have any chance of taking the win. Maybe his teammate might do him a bit of help, or maybe his teammate's trying to take the on-track victory himself. Sparholt staying to the right-hand side, then moving to the middle of the road. Surely Janecki's not going to send it, and he doesn't. Mike, though, has got ahead of Just As. So has Daniel. So Just As he was battling the 2 McLarens for the lead, he's now down to 5th position. We're nearly on the final lap. Who's going to be the first car across the finish line? One of the McLarens, Daniel, Mike, or Just As. There's 1.3 seconds between them. Further down the field, XL Ryan's got past his teammate, Vaughan Powell, so that's a swap for 8th and 9th position that we have just seen. But we will focus on this lead battle because it is anyone's guess who's going to be first car across the finish line. Sparholt having to go a bit more defensive there. That gives his teammate a better exit through that corner. He's right underneath the rear wing here. Surely he's going to have a chance. Around the outside at Brooklands, his teammate goes defensive for 2 McLarens are side by side, and Janecki just tries to go round the outside at Brooklands. That gives him the inside line for Luffield, and he's in the lead. There's a bit of a tap and another one there that might allow Sparholt to just get the overlap done. Not this time though, so Janecki retakes the on-track lead. Does still look as though Mike is going to be the favourite if he can just keep it clean and avoid getting any extra penalties on this final lap. Otherwise that could give the win to the race to Daniel. Only a few corners to go now, but they all come through Chapel. Janecki's got no ERS, neither has his teammate, who's quite a bit behind. Daniel has got a bit. Is he going to take the win out on track here maybe? Janecki moves over. Is Sparholt going to send it down the inside of his teammate at Stowe? That was a late move, and I'm not sure he'll be able to pull it off. No, he does not. So I think that is going to be it for now. Janecki is going to be the first car across the line then here in the final Group 1 INL evaluation race. His first car across the line, but it's going to be Mike, who actually must have got a penalty at the end of the race that I didn't see, because Daniel has taken the victory here. Mike is second, Janecki third, Just As fourth. Sparholt drops down to 5th. McCrew will cross the line to take 6th. XL Ryan is 7th. And yeah, that connection issue has absolutely messed up the lobby there, so we'll ignore what Flori's done. Warren Powell 8th, Sabinho and Matty will be the final 2 finishers, 9th and 10th for them in what was an absolutely hectic race. We had 3 full safety cars, 1 virtual one. In the end though, Daniel kept it cleaner out of those in the lead of the race. He takes the victory. Fantastic job from him. 3 stops he did in the end. Started all the way down in 12th position. He is the victor today. I'm sure there'll be a lot to talk about after that race. See there, Janecki getting driver of the day after coming from a long way back. And yeah, that is F1. Well, at least F1 Ferrari got on the podium. I hope he's still watching because his AI has done a fantastic job, winning apparently by 1 minute 53 with the fastest lap of 16.411. So I don't think you can get a space shuttle to get around here that quickly, if I'm being honest. But anyway, Daniel won, Mike second, Janecki getting on the podium, Just As is in 4th, Sparholt 5th, McCrew 6th, Ryan 7th, Borman Powell 8th, Sabinho and Matty the final 2 finishers. So Bolin and Flynn both come into the pit, which was a very strange situation, and Ryan followed them in as well. Yogurt down there, he didn't finish. Mr. Pop didn't finish. Bullet Boy and Rotation we saw come together. Legend off from the first lap, and Toxic Tomato getting that joke of a disqualification on the second safety car after pitting under safety car conditions. He got the penalty for overtaking under yellow flags and then got disqualified for overtaking under yellow flags. I did see a fastest lap, and I'll tell you what, if you do a fastest lap that fast again on time trial with recording, I will give you everything I own. everything I own in the future as well. I'll buy a house, I'll let you live in it. I mean, we know there's a few time trial glitches on this, but I'm not sure you'll be able to see any ones that are a 16 minute. As Bullet Boy as well has done a 26.1. Do apologise for a few of the connection issues, but I think they have affected the lobby today. That is it though for this evaluation race. You can check out the other ones now. We have got Group 3. Group 2 underway at this moment in time. They've actually just started their race. If you want to check them out with Dan taking it over. I will see you guys next week for race 1 of the season around Australia, where I'm sure a few drivers will think there's a few scores to settle after what was a manic evaluation race here at the British Grand Prix. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe and like this video and check out Intelligence Racing League on Twitter at IntelligenceINL. And I will see you guys next week. Goodbye.